Hey, I'm Jen Woodhouse from the House of Wood, and today I'm going to show you how to create a weathered farmhouse style finish in just a few easy steps. The farmhouse trend is still going strong, and if you don't have 100 years to wait for wood to naturally weather, I'm going to show you a few easy techniques to achieve that rustic farmhouse look. First, we're going to stain the wood. Sand with a medium grit sandpaper. All stains need open pores to be absorbed properly, so sanding is going to open up those wood fibers so that the stain can really penetrate. Then remove all the dust and debris before applying the stain. I'm using one of my favorite colors. It's Varathane's Dark Walnut. It's a rich medium brown that's not too cool or too warm. So we're going to open up the can of stain and stir it up really well. Some of the color can settle at the bottom of the can, so to get the most even tone and the truest color, mix up that stain before and during application. To apply the stain, you could use a foam or a bristle brush or a shop rag or even an old t-shirt. I personally like to use a rag most of the time, but when I need to get into the nooks and crannies of a piece, I'll use a disposable foam brush. Dip the rag into the stain and start working it into the wood in a circular motion. I immediately go back and wipe up any excess stain in the direction of the wood grain. The great thing about this Varathane stain is that you only need one coat. You don't have to keep layering on coat after coat to get that deep, rich color. And it dries in an hour, so it's a great time saver. Okay, we're gonna let that dry before we move on to the next step. Once it's dry, this is what it's gonna look like. Now, we're gonna put on a thin layer of white paint. I'm using this chalked paint by Rust-Oleum. I love that it dries to a smooth, chalky finish, and it's super easy to sand and distress, which is the look we're going for. Now, as far as application goes, you can use a brush or you could spray it on. You just wanna get a thin coat of paint on your project. If you dry brush, you're going to take your brush and dip it into the paint. You're going to want to blot out as much paint as you can, so you're left with very little paint on the tip of the bristles. And then you can just brush it on and let it dry. So that's what it looks like when it's dry, and now it's time to distress. You're going to want to take kind of a coarser grit sandpaper, so I'm looking at 120 here, and I'm going to sand off some of the paint. The idea here is to sand off some of that paint so that that beautiful walnut stain comes through. We're trying to mimic a weathered, worn look as if this piece were 100 years old and it has a bit of wear and tear on it. So think about where the piece would naturally get bumped and scratched, and then that's where you want to sand. Once you're happy with the look, you're going to want to protect it with a finish. I like this Varathane polyurethane either in a matte or a satin sheen. For more details on the basics of finishing, check out my Finishing 101 video. And if you want to see more DIY projects and tutorials, visit my website, jenwoodhouse.com. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Get in there really good. As far as application goes, you can use a foam brush or this thing. Okay. All right, I hope, For more details on how to finish things, let me do that again. That was weird. Tutorials and projects, no. What am I doing with my hands? I will see you next time, and I'm trying to remember all of the things I need to say. For more details on, okay. Yeesh!